It all starts by creating a new file, opening Lio Toolbox and running the project setup automation. That's it. The plugin creates 4 sections covering the full project lifecycle: file specifications, visual strategy, production, and history. That is a place to archive iterations and all explorations. Of course, you can always add any extra custom page you think is relevant to the project. On top of that, the plugin automatically creates the base variable collections: color palette, color system, layout, and typeset. Most of them include some variables already set up, making the expected structure immediately clear. In the end, you are not losing time on building from scratch and remembering how you did it the last time. You always use the same setup for every project. Let's take a look at this landing page exploration. Lots of colors and used in many ways, but in this phase they are still just color choices. Before going into massive production, we need to turn them into actual decisions and store them properly. In other words, a color system. The Lio method introduces a mental model inspired by material design focused on contrast and hierarchy that is very easy to understand. There is always a surface, and there is always something on surface. You can store background decisions using the surface tokens, which are organized by elevation. The higher the number, the higher the layer. Text, borders, and icons can be stored using the on-surface tokens, which are semantically organized by how strong or subtle the element needs to be. The same logic applies to any element using brand colors, but with a distinctive token, like primary or brand, and extend from there using modifiers like primary soft. Of course, there is always room for project-specific tokens. You can follow the same name logic, like on-surface gradient, or go fully specific to a component, like grid line or grid line dot. And that's really the whole model. 2 concepts that scale as far as the project needs, staying clear and easy to replicate. This is where the toolbox really saves time. The first step is to analyze the current tab scale. The plugin allows you to quickly spot if you need to add missing sizes or remove redundant ones. This is key, since having a solid foundation is what actually makes the whole system easy to maintain later. Once the scale is validated, you can store your decisions using the method's naming convention. The prefix title or text followed by the scale number with optional modifiers to make the usage explicit. By the way, the method doesn't use HTML semantics as the naming convention, since semantic structure and visual hierarchy clearly have different purposes. Now that the typography system is defined, you can run the automation to create the Figma text styles, and then convert those styles into Figma variables, so you can map them to breakpoints and keep the structure consistent. The plugin will automatically put the font size value in the style description, and depending on how you're thinking at that moment, it will allow you to find a style by its functional role or by its size. Worth mentioning that every variable the Lio Toolbox generates comes with the scope already set up correctly. This is the latest part of the system, and that is intentional. In web design, layout decisions are highly contextual. Trying to systematize everything upfront just creates friction without adding any value. So the method defines a basic foundation: a grid setup with variables for width, margin, gather, and column count, a basic spacing set for section level separation, and shape variables for corner radius and border width just for consistency purposes. Beyond that foundation, you can capture specific decisions as patterns repeat across the work, but only when a pattern proves consistent is when it earns a semantic token. For example, the space between the top of the viewport and the content in the hero section becomes the variable top page. As you can see, it's not really necessary to have a deep layout system. It's just a matter of identifying the right decisions and store them in the right place. Once the design system has some shape, the Style Guide Assistant generates the visual documentation automatically. Color guide based on the color palette and color system variables, the typography guide with the full scale and font properties, and the layout guide with the grids, spacing, and shape configuration. Each guide shows you when it was created and by whom. Very useful when you're working with a team and need to know if the style guide is up to date. And this is not documentation you create one time at the end of the project. It's generated while you are designing. You can run the automation every time you make updates. In other words, the system is always evolving with you.